Very good morning to you. And the reason we were talking just a moment ago, as the cameras came to us, is this matters, doesn't it? And Laura, this is very personal for you.
Absolutely.
Would you share your story a little bit for us? Tell me what happened.
Yeah, so I was diagnosed with cervical cancer at 29 after a routine smear test. I put it off for 3 or 4 months. It wouldn't have made a difference to my diagnosis. It just shows how important it is to keep up to date with your smears. I was told I had abnormal cells, I tested positive for HPV, and that there would need to be further investigation. And the investigation revealed I had stage 1B1 cervical cancer, which resulted in a hysterectomy at 29.
OK, take us plot through the next part. Yeah, I mean, it's emotional for you. I can see that as you're talking about it now. Take us through what happened next.
It's the old cliche. I was sat in a room. I was told, I'm really sorry, it's cancer. I had 2 small children, so, they were at the forefront of my mind. I said, I need you to save me. They're so young. They won't remember me if I die. And he's just said to me, I'm going to look after you, don't worry. And it came out of nowhere. I had no symptoms. So it just shows how important that screening is. And I went on to have my hysterectomy, and then I was told I was all clear, which was fantastic news.
How long was that whole process?
So I went for my smear in the February, and I was given my all clear at the end of August. So it's a few months.
It's all quite recent, isn't it?
It does. I don't think I would be human if I didn't get emotional about it now. Yeah. And it just shows, how important it is, I only have to speak about my children, and I just always feel so lucky to be here. Even when they're driving me mad, I think I'm so lucky.
How old are they now?
They're 11 and 7 going on 17. So she's there. But yeah, every day is a bonus day.
And Kate, it is so important, isn't it, that stories like Laura's are told, because were you offered the HPV vaccine?
No, so it hadn't been rolled out when I was at school.
Right, there you go. So now it has. And so I suppose the questions are, who gets offered it? When do you get offered it? For how long?
So it gets offered in schools.
Conversations with them. Have you had that
with
conversation?
my eldest, yes, because he's just started high school. And as much as, it is the parents' consent when they get to school. I want him to be well educated to what vaccine he's having, why he's having it. I've always been really open with them about my story anyway. So the word's always kind of floating around the house anyway, because when I was diagnosed, I'd never heard of HPV. I didn't know what it was until I got that letter. So he will be well educated on why he's having it and what it's for.
And how is that reflected? I mean, there people sometimes are worried, and that's perfectly legitimate, isn't it, to ask those questions. What about take-up? What about, how reluctant is there reluctance from people?
Well, the HPV vaccination uptake is relatively high in the UK. It's around 86% take up the vaccine, but that national figure really does hide certain groups, certain areas where it's lower. And we're also living in a time when vaccinations are very much in the public eye. There's a lot of hesitancy and mistrust of vaccinations. So we've got to be really mindful of the impact of the COVID vaccination programme on the HPV programme, especially as the 2 are being delivered in schools during this school year.
And even though this is happening, we can't take away the importance of still having cervical smears.
Absolutely.
Because, you said, Laura, even though yours was delayed by 3 or 4 months, that wouldn't have made a difference, but regular smear tests, I'm assuming you were having those?
Yes, so even though I've had a hysterectomy, I still go for regular smear tests. I probably have more smear tests in 12 months than most women have in their entire lives. It doesn't get any easier, It doesn't, I don't feel any less embarrassed when I do go, but I just know the importance of going now.
And so, I mean, obviously in terms of medical health, they start obviously later on in life. But that's still being pushed forward.
Absolutely.
As well.
And even if you've had the vaccination, no vaccine is 100% effective. So it's still really important to go for cervical screening when you've been invited, regardless of whether or not you've had the vaccine.
Kate Sanger, thank you so much from Cervical Cancer.